This is Via Voices, the podcast that brings you insights from the champions of international education. I'm your host, Brooke Roberts, and together we'll uncover the stories behind impactful global learning experiences and the professionals who make them possible. NYU has a 96% retention rate for its international students, but how?
Whatever the university can do to show support to the international students, in particular, to the American students who are studying abroad, is something that they will recognize that, hey, my university is working for me.
In this episode, Sherif Barsoum, Senior Associate VP for Global Services, discusses the various ways he and his team have positively impacted retention and overall international student success. Hi, Sherif.
Hi, Brooke. How are you?
Welcome to the Via Voices podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking some time out of the conference to sit down with me. I know it's a really busy time for you.
Sure.
What I've loved most about doing these interviews so far is I've actually gotten to know the passion and motivation for why people got into international ed. And so I would love to hear your story. How did you launch your international education career? What brought you to us?
Yeah, so I was at Ohio State and doing my master's in higher ed, and they said I should do an internship. So I chose the international office because I was interested in that. I just happened to have a wonderful mentor, John Greisberger, who actually used to be the president of AIEA. And he mentored me, and I did 3 months of free internship. I liked it so much, I said, can I do another 3 months of free internship? He's like, absolutely. And then a job came open and I applied for it and I got the job. So,
yeah. What side of international ed were you specifically working in?
International students and scholars.
Okay.
Yeah, in particular orientation for international students.
Nice.
So it was great to see the new excited, students come in and take care of them even from the very first day.
I think that's probably the best job in international ed, receiving the students. Whether you work on site around the world or you're bringing international students in and you're getting to do kind of the fun orientation things. That's the best. Yeah. That's awesome. But how did you find out about higher ed as a career path?
Oh, wow. Higher ed. I was actually not really thinking. I didn't even know that you can get a master's in higher ed. And I had a friend of mine who said, your personality really looks like higher ed and you should look into this. It's a master's degree, 2 years. You can do it very easily. Mm-hmm. And so I applied and I got in and the rest is history after 33 years.
That's so cool. Well, I have a connection to Ohio State as well.
Oh.
I also applied for their higher ed program.
Did you?
And I went for interview days.
Okay.
And I only wanted to work and study abroad. That was the only internship I wanted. And when I got there, they announced that the study abroad office had closed down their internship.
Oh.
It was such a bummer because I really wanted to go to Ohio State. I didn't end up going there. I went to Bowling Green instead.
Okay.
But
good program as well.
Yeah, exactly. But that's so cool that we have that connection. So tell me a little bit about your NYU, obviously, a huge operation, especially international. Tell me about your role there and sort of everything you oversee and what you all are kind of working on right now.
Sure. So I'm the Senior Associate Vice President for Global Services. And Global Services has kind of 3 parts. The first part is international students part. The second part is the scholars who are coming in to do research or to teach. And then the third part is study away visas. So our Global Programs Office admits the students and takes care of all the academic portion of the study away. Then they send them to us and we take care of all the visas and making sure that everybody gets to the right place at the right time and so forth. Those are the 3 parts. And then the fourth part that we kind of added lately is having to do with the international students. And that is the programming piece, which is really important for their success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about that, because obviously I think we know through research, as you know, through higher ed, that the more students are involved on campus, the more likely they are to retain and continue enrollment. What kind of data or information have you seen around international students and how that impacts their retention long term?
Yeah. So I think there's no doubt that our international students are retained in a higher rate than American students. I know that we have definitely measured that at NYU, and although our retention rate now is 96%, It's even higher than that for international students. So it's really great to have. But I think that comes along with the incredible amount of programs that we do at the university to make sure that they are feeling at home, feeling welcomed, feeling connected, feeling that they belong, and finally flourishing at the university.
So when you talk about the programming, can you give me an example of
Sure.
something new that you guys have tried that maybe not a lot of people have heard about?
So last year, we created 2 years ago, we created this international hub, international student hub, and we call it affectionately iHub. And so the iHub is for all international students on campus, undergrad and grad. They get an email every week at the same time. And every week we have a plethora of programs that we offer for all of our international students. Last year we did 406 programs in just 1 year. So that's more than one program a day.
Yeah.
Which is really great. And the programming, like you said, they vary from social programs. They vary from programs where we teach them how to apply for internships, for example, or how to apply for a CPT or an OPT, curricular practical training, or optional practical training after graduation. So I think those programs are very well attended and effective. But even so, I'll tell you, one of our most funnest programs is just bringing a ice cream truck in front of our building and giving away free ice cream, for the first 300 people.
Yeah.
Those are popular programs.
Food still works, right?
It's great. And who doesn't want ice cream, right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing, one of our most popular programs, actually, we bring 3 buses and we take students to Woodbury Commons, which is a shopping area, retail shops and so forth. And we do it right before they go on break. So if they want to shop and bring stuff for their families or their friends back home, this is a great way to do it. And, you can't imagine that we would fill 3 buses, but 150 people go shopping, and it's always sold out. But there's so many other things, besides one of my favorite programs that we do is the Broadway series, where we actually have a Broadway brunch series where we take students, 20 to 30 students, to lunch before a Broadway show and then go to the Broadway show. Another one that also has to do with food is we take about 20 or 25 students to this kind of lunch and learn program where we actually go to a restaurant. Let's say they pick Korean food. So we go to a Korean restaurant and we all taste the Korean food and have the chef come out and tell us about the Korean food. So it's very engaging, and they get to know each other and build community with each other while enjoying great food and then learning also about the food they're eating.
Right. Yeah. What I love about that is I feel like some people probably can look at you, and be like, well, you have it easy. You're in New York City. Yeah. But every example you've given is something that you could do in Kansas City. Yeah. Or smaller towns.
Sure.
And try to leverage some of those activities, at least in their own way, that they can access. So it's all very accessible. So as you know, there's been a lot of changes and challenges, things happening in our international education ecosystem lately, which sometimes can make it harder to focus on like the student support and the programming because you're worried about political or logistical challenges that are presenting themselves. What is something that is happening right now that you're most passionate about focusing on and working on to make sure that we're still doing good work in our field?
Yeah, great question. Anytime there's always challenging times. You never know what challenge will come up. I think the most important thing to remember, though, is that the students are looking to you for guidance. You are there to advise them. You're also there to show them support. So whatever the university can do to show support to the international students, in particular, to the American students who are studying abroad, is something that they will recognize that, hey, my university is working for me. So we put out on our websites very, very specific information about advocacy. What the university is doing to advocate for international education for the international students, for Americans who are going abroad to get visas, to get whatever it is that they need. So that's something that is front and center, visible on our websites. So students can say, hey, my university is really wanting me to be here and cares about my success. So I think that's something that we all sometimes don't remember to do,
Yeah.
and forget that, hey, the students are watching, and they're watching what we do, and they want our support. And if we're going to bring them here, let's support them
Yeah.
until
The
they
whole way through.
succeed.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. I obviously, VIA, we're a technology company, so
Yeah.
I'm always curious to hear from people how you're leveraging technology in your operation. That's something that's, maybe 20 years ago was really challenging to do, and nowadays you're like, wow, this is so streamlined and easy.
Yeah, there's so much out there, right? But we want to be careful to make sure to leverage the right technology. I think VIA does a great job in some of their things that they're putting out right now. What we have, the latest thing that we have actually done is a chatbot. And the chatbot is taking basically all the information from our website. So all the information is correct. Okay, we hope.
Yeah.
And so the chatbot is really helping us with the volume of students. So like you said, we have 20,000 international students plus 7,000 OPT students. So that's 27,000 students that have questions. But with the chatbot, in 1 week, we might get 3,000 or 4,000 emails.
Yeah.
And 3,000 or 4,000 questions answered, that there's no way I can hire enough advisors to answer all these questions at all times of, especially if you're a global campus and you have, campuses all over the world and in Europe and in different time zones in Asia and other places. So it's good to have this chatbot to answer the question right away when the students wants it. And, now the students want everything at their fingertips, and now
no 24-hour delay.
No, you can't. Yeah, I mean, 24 hours would be great, but they want it today. They want it now.
Yeah. That's interesting. Was there, when you all decided you wanted to try this technology out, did you get any pushback across campus or even internally in your office at all? Were people fearful of it?
Not at all.
Oh, okay.
Not at all. I mean, I think people were relieved that there's some help.
Yeah.
Right. But the university, of course, wanted to make sure that, it's accessible.
Right.
Make sure that everything is safe. There's no fraud. There's no things like that. So, yeah, we had to go through our IT system at the university to make sure that we crossed all our T's and dotted our I's. Yeah, absolutely.
Now that's really cool. And obviously there's probably an AI backend component to this. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, that's really cool. How do you think technology, like in the next 10 years, is going to be impacting the work you do?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're paperless, but I think the best thing that ever happened to the I-20s, if I can say, is that we can sign them electronically. You don't have to sign the actual I-20, which is really fantastic.
Yeah.
So I think that is something that's a positive, and I'm glad that the government has kept it even after COVID. But I think in the future, I think it'll be interesting how the visas are impacted by AI, by electronic, technology and other things like that. I think a lot of, countries are going towards that, but it would be really nice. I mean, we bring in, global entry to do global entry, at the university. And wow, now when I'm coming in to JFK, and
I know.
I don't even have to show my passport.
I know. You just look at a camera.
Yeah, they scan your eyes, and they're like, "Welcome to the U.S.," which is really great. So I think that's probably the way that the world is going all over. Yeah. So that's going to be really nice to do. Yeah.
Well, and I just think too, everyone in our space, I think, is probably pretty aware of the hoops students have to go through, especially depending on the country they're coming from, to be in order to study in the United States. But I feel like a lot of people outside of this, they don't realize like the heavy lift on them, their family, their communities sometimes to like even get them to another country. And the visa processing alone, is would be enough to make me go, never mind, I'm just staying. Yeah. So I want to jump into our lightning round. A rapid fire round, if you will. Okay. We're academics, so as you know, we're not very rapid, but we'll try. So I'm going to just ask you a few questions and just kind of tell me what comes to mind.
Sure.
So tell me about the last book you read and how it's influenced how you see the world or that topic.
It was a long walk to freedom, I think.
Okay.
It was yeah. I've always been interested in South Africa,
Okay.
and I always have taken students there to study away for over 25 years. So it's been something that is very inspiring to me, and that no matter how long it takes, you can still make it.
Yeah. Are you going to include that book now on the rotation for students when you take them? Like, you got to read this book?
I should.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there's another one by Stephen Biko. I write what I want, or I say what I want. Something.
Yeah.
I think I write what I want.
Okay.
That's what it's called. And that's really also
Yeah.
good about the resistance in
Okay.
South Africa. Yeah.
That sounds great. Yeah. Can you share an example of a time when you use data to basically shore up more support within your institution to showcase the value your work is bringing to the campus?
No, I think, and that's something that we need actually in our work right now is the ratio of advisors to students, especially if you're in a big university. I had to use data to make sure that, hey, we're not totally out of whack. At the moment, at that time, we were like 1,500 to 1. And we needed to bring it down, to like 800 or 900 to 1.
Which is still a lot.
Which is a lot,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I think the advising organizations always say that it should be around 250, 300 to 1. But I think using data to show that there is a need and that, you're not going to do the students any favor if you don't have the right amount of advisors and the timeliness of everything, because this is their life that you're talking about. It's not just, I want to, drop a course or add a course.
Yeah.
It's, my immigration, my immigration status that I'm worried about.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that everything goes well and in a timely way. So I think that's the last time that I kind of used data to see how many advisors we have to international students we have is something that I think is very helpful.
I mean, we know technically, numbers, you can manipulate numbers,
Sure.
but I still feel like they're such a vital tool for us in our work, because I think, especially even within higher ed, some people might look at our work as like, oh, that's soft stuff they do over there, intercultural learning, but not really understand like the bigger direct impact that our work does in terms of, enrollment, retention, student outcomes. All these things help the institution writ large, and I feel like we had a whole conversation about data and how challenging sometimes it is for administrators to access the data. What tools or what collaborations are you doing on your campus to make your data collection and reporting a little easier?
Yeah, I think, we work a lot with student affairs, with institutional research, with our student success office. We work even with our career services office to kind of gather all the data that we need to gather. Because at the end of the day, our students and our parents want to know what's their return on investment.
Yes.
What is it that is going to make my student succeed?
Yeah.
And so we want to kind of get the data from all different aspects of the university, graduation rates, career services, am I going to get a job after graduation? Do I have an internship in my second or third year? Did I study abroad, during that 4-year time? Did I do some service programs? Was I involved in organizations on campus to better myself and better the society? So all of those things I think really help to get to the point where this is really worth it.
Yeah. And none of it operates in a silo, as you just demonstrated. We have to collaborate across campus. And I just also realized too, I'm really bad at this rapid fire round myself. So one more rapid fire. So if you had no limits when it comes to the technology you could use, you had no limits on your finances, geography wasn't a problem, what's one thing you would change about the work we do in international ed?
Well, I would definitely have everyone get a visa to come to the United States and to go anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
I would also have these really amazing, for example, we do some alternative breaks, that are not for credit, but the students learn so much. and are affected so much that I think we should have those for credit. You know, so the students can utilize those in their learning, but also get credit for what they're doing. So I think those are the things. But I tell you, one of the most fulfilling things that I have in my 33 years career is when a student comes after 10 years, they graduated, and they say, you know, they find me on LinkedIn and they say, you know, Sherif, you were one of the first people that said hello to me when I came to the United States. And I just want to say thanks for you being kind. And that, you know, you helped me when I first came to the United States. Or if I took a student abroad, you know, a student would say, you know, because of that South Africa trip, now I am a civil rights attorney in Chicago.
Wow.
I'm like, what, you know, and then you're like,
I was about to tear up. That is so great.
and you're like, okay, well, I didn't do anything, you know, that was my job, you know, but they remember what we do and what we say. If we smile, if we talk to them, if we're helpful, they remember everything that we do. Yeah,
that's great. All right, so let's talk professionally. For people out there who are early in their career or, you know, any time in their career, and they are thinking, I think I might want to be an SIO someday. What's some advice? What's a piece of advice you would give somebody who wants to be in a role like yours?
Sure. I would say get as much education as you can. I would say get as many varied experiences as you can. Definitely go abroad. Definitely try to, you know, do different parts of the university. If you're in admissions, if you're in recruiting, if you are in study abroad, if you're in international student services, career services, do all these different things. That way you have a very well-rounded look at the university and how it functions. So I don't limit yourself and silo yourself into one little thing that you're doing, because you know, the university is too big for that. And a lot of times in smaller universities, you're going to have to wear so many hats, right?
Yeah. Well, I was just talking with Fabiola from KCK Community College, obviously much smaller institution than NYU. But she was listing off everything she oversees. And I feel like at NYU probably has like a team for each of those areas. So she's getting that cross-functional knowledge right away, which is really cool. So maybe working at a smaller school is a great way to do that. Yeah, it's a good start. Yeah, absolutely. That is fantastic. So thank you so much for being on the show. Was that painful?
Not at all. You're easy to talk to.
Good. Thank you so much for taking some time out to chat with me today. This is great.
All right. Thanks.